Hello, my name is Nelson Acosta, and this is my presentation for our assignment 4. For this assignment, we were supposed to put ourselves in the hypothetical situation that we're PhD in our field of choice. My choice, it was music. And in this hypothetical situation, we've been teaching a class for 20 years, and we're just now moving over to an online class to provide it for anybody to take. So in my case, in the field of music, I wanted to do a music appreciation class. Something I think is important to me as a music educator is for everyone to find their appreciation and love for music. I do believe that everyone loves music, and if they say they don't, maybe they just haven't found the right music. But this class would sort of introduce people to different kinds of music, maybe talk about some historical music points. I won't get into specifics of content for the class, but just how I would design the class. So, how would you go about redesigning the course for that new context? Again, this context is an online course of a class that's been taught in person for 20 years. My thought was simple. You begin with using a learning management system. A lot of the times people use, a university will have a specific learning management system they use. One we're familiar with, I'm sure, is Canvas. And I think Canvas is a great tool to use because of its abilities with uploading documents, discussion boards. It's just organized and you can design it the way you want to, and I really do like that. I'll talk more about this as I move and progress through the PowerPoint. But after finding a learning management system, the next thing I would have to do is to adjust the curriculum that I have to use for online use. Now, this could be as simple as just, simply move our curriculum over to the online world. But it's not always that simple. Sometimes you have plans to do something for face-to-face courses, but are unable to do them online. So in that respect, you need to analyze, go ahead and self-evaluate that curriculum to see if it's actually feasible for an online-only class. And sometimes it's very simple, very easy to implement an online-only version of your course, but other times not so much. For example, the next point that I would do about, the next step in redesigning the course is to upload class documents online. Some of those documents might be too cumbersome to have a 56-page excerpt or manuscript from music, or uploading your own videos. How you get that? It can be quite difficult. But right under that, I have this little subsection here that says find materials already online, and that is where you can go through and see what are the most important things in your curriculum and what is already available to you. It just makes it that much more easy to have all the class materials ready to go. If you have something that you don't find online, that's when you can use your own materials or change your materials to fit something that's already available and just simply upload it from there. But that's a lot of either printing, scanning, copying, moving files around onto hard drives and thumb drives and then taking it somewhere else. And upload times can be a hassle. So it can be quite difficult there, but it's a very important step. After that, pre-record lectures and create PowerPoints. These are the actual teaching portions of the design. It can't just be that, I know all the material and I just upload it and follow the curriculum. At that point, then a machine could do your job. It's just copy and paste the curriculum, copy and paste files. But it's teaching, it's guiding new learners and opening them up to a new world of information, something they don't know. Or if they do, delve deeper into that field. But pre-recording lectures allows it to be recorded. It's already there, easily accessible later on. Creating PowerPoints for people who aren't as great in the lecture, they might get bored. PowerPoints are a great visual tool that they can use if that's their preferred method of learning. After all that's been done, creating appropriate assessment tools is probably the most important. I believe, and I've written it down a lot in my courses this semester, that assessment is usually the thing that's overlooked in education. Not in terms of, oh, do we need assessment? Everyone knows we need assessment, but finding the appropriate assessment or something that's going to assess the right things that tie into your goals and everything you have planned is really important. So having the appropriate assessments, and for example, if you read my text, I talk about, well, a lot of the times multiple choice questions can be a quick and easy form of assessment, but in music, I don't really, this isn't trying to regurgitate information of dates and artist names or composers or genres, but I want to hear discussion. I want to see students engaging with each other and with the community and culture around them, or immerse themselves in a new culture and community. And that can't happen if you don't have open dialogue in your courses. I've decided to use discussion boards as kind of writing assessments, and it doesn't always have to be a summative grade, but it can just be a simple discussion on how did everyone feel about this week's topic, something simple like that. Multiple choice, really good, easy way to evaluate how your course is going, and it's very simple to implement. Short response, I think, is probably going to be the best bet here for me, because I want to see what people know. I want to know what they remember. And the best way to do that is to get in writing. What do you remember? What does this remind you of when I play this recording? In my field of music, for music history, I had to take 3 courses on different eras of music. And that would require listening quizzes where it's almost like a drop the needle quiz, where the professor would find a recording, not have any kind of markers like lyrics, or make it very difficult and obscure the genre, but you have to be very specific in your answer. And this is very important because it allows you to think about everything you know when writing it down, instead of having a 25% chance of picking the right answer on a multiple choice test. But let's move on so I can talk more about Zoom and Canvas. We've already talked about how Canvas is a very good method of organizing a class online, but the next step would be how to deliver all of these things. Zoom and Microsoft Teams are a couple examples of a good video session that you can have, video conferencing sessions you can have. And Zoom has a lot of great little tricks that you can use as an educator. And later on, I'll explain why Zoom isn't going to be used really for class, but maybe some meetings that can happen every once in a while. So let's move on to that. What are key things to take into consideration? Well, obviously in my written assignment, my written part of this assignment 4, I go into more detail about this, but a non-set class time is super important to the format I'm using. One of the things in the prompts or in the hypothetical situation was that this class would be available to anyone, anywhere. And to me, that sounds amazing. Anyone around the world can have this class, and it's great information. But if I were to set a class time, or to have these timed assignments every day, that doesn't guarantee that everyone's going to have a successful time in this course. Setting class times really limit to who can take the course, whether that's a simple time zone thing, that people have jobs, have to take care of families. Sometimes even night classes can become quite cumbersome. So having a non-set class time and having pre-recorded lectures and you can access them on Canvas at any time really allows more people to take the course. The next step was the discussion boards. Yes, you can use discussion boards for written assignments, and that would be a goal in this course, but discussion board can also be used to ask questions. If a professor in a face-to-face situation, someone raises their hand, the professor answers. If the professor answered that somebody else's question, they don't have to raise their hand anymore. Everyone in the class heard the answer. You can't really do that online if someone sends a private email and then everyone just keeps sending the same email to the professor. So having a discussion board allows people to write their thoughts down and fully express themselves in writing, be able to communicate with the professor, ask questions so everybody can see, discuss with each other, and promotes communication throughout the class. And it really just promotes an overall well environment, for a pretty good environment to promote communication with other students. And the last thing to keep in mind for me was keeping information accessible throughout the semester. This allows people who are kind of behind to be able to go back, make sure they understand everything instead of just missing out on information and moving on. And allows a good references. Whenever you have trouble with something you're working on, you can just go back, look at the notes, look at PowerPoints, lectures, ask questions in the discussion board, and it's just easily accessible on a website like Canvas. And that's why keeping it accessible all semester will greatly benefit the students and also limit more work for me, the professor in the situation, when someone asks a question. The last thing really was what kind of things I would use. PowerPoints. We talked about the tools that I can use. PowerPoint is actually very intuitive and has many tools you can do. It's not just putting words or pictures on a thing and on one slide with a title and that's it. Hyperlinks, videos, animations, sounds, using them for examples in music and images. A very useful tool for this course. And the other thing is YouTube. YouTube has one of the greatest music collections of all time. You can see it live. You can find studio recordings, live recordings. It's a great tool to use, and it's a great resource for anyone trying to learn anything, really. The last slide will be resources for all the logos I used, and I hope my accompanying written document is more specific and can answer any questions someone would have after seeing this slide. Thanks for watching.